the Roundtable at Uncle Studios in beautiful Southern California. Welcome to another edition of WorkCom Matters, the central location for you employees and, of course, you independent contractors and employers. My name is Steve Appel, and I'll be your host for the next hour with some talk news and hopefully some answers about WorkCom Matters. Thanks for being part of the show. And if you can break away from your WorkCom Matters, feel free to give me a call and clue us in with your questions, comments, and or concerns. The phone number worldwide, 818-357-4120. You can send me an email to wcexaminer@aol.com. You can be old school and send me a fax, 818-475-1437. With me in studio, my right-hand man, Dr. Mike Zyma, vocational rehabilitation extraordinary specialist Laura Wilson, my protege, attorney Robert Ozeron, Scott Walton of Uncle Studio, engineering the show, back in Munich, Germany, attorney John Scalia, and back at WorkComp Central, making sure the whole damn thing goes right, is Mr. Jake Paris. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of WorkCom Matters. We are full strength and blessed to have Laura Wilson here. It is a pleasure to see you, my dear.
Hi, how are you?
I am doing well, thank you. Now, normally, the last time Laura was here, we were in our regular studio, Studio E, which is considerably larger, has more accoutrement. Yeah, right. But Scott got some heavy-duty business, so we have been downgraded one to Studio D. However, Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, is the round table here the same round table? Yeah, it's the same round table. So we're in Studio D, but we really are around the round table.
It's a palace.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And Mike,
we even have a little tent over us.
Yes, that's right.
Is it a parachute?
You know something? I think it looks very much like a parachute.
Retro.
A retro parachute. You're listening to WorkComp Matters are brought to you by A1 Law. If you want the number one computer management system used by more workers' compensation attorneys than any other system in the damn Kuiper Belt, you give me a call at 818-357-4120 for your no-strings-attached money-back guarantee, $1 a day, A1 Law. And if you want those hard-to-get, sold-out, yes, even front row concert, sports, theater tickets, give our buddy Brian a call at Santa Monica Tickets, 310-395-8587. And last but not least, here's a little something from ABC Rugs. ABC Rugs has been in the business of manufacturing and direct importation and exportation of Persian and Oriental rugs for more than 39 years. ABC Rugs is a direct importer and wholesaler of antique, Moroccan, Oriental, and Persian rugs. Established in 1978, ABC Rugs is definitely old school. 323-897-5444. That's ABC Rugs. 323-897-5444. And, of course, there goes ABC Rugs. Well, we've got a huge news story today. Just some of the stories coming up. There's an update from the DWC on IMR, Independent Medical Review. We have an update about marijuana potency and purity, update about Uber drivers, whether or not they're independent contractors, and, of course, how much money was saved. LexisNexis is offering risk solutions. We have the NRA insurance products and a whole bunch of other information. But before we get to this, Laura, are you feeling okay? I saw on your Facebook about your hand. Now, you posted it. We didn't talk about this, but you posted on Facebook, so you know I'm going to ask. Are you feeling okay?
Social media.
There you go. There you go. So is your hand okay?
My hand is okay.
Tell us what happened.
Well, there was a light bulb, and it was plugged in, and
Wait a minute. How many women does it take to change a light bulb?
I know, it was one of those moments. Let me tell you, it was an aha moment. Because I felt the electrocution go up into my shoulder.
Okay, so in other words, obviously first the switch was on when you changed the light bulb.
Yes.
And then did the light bulb break? Is that why? Or?
Yes, it broke.
Okay. It had broken already.
And I went to twist it off, and it sparked.
Did the shock knock you over?
Yeah.
It didn't knock me over, but
almost
knocked me over, gave me quite a headache. Then I had to wrap my fingers for a little bit.
But the most important thing is you're okay, right?
I'm fine. Ready to go.
That is wonderful. Are those earrings real leaves, gold-plated leaves or something? Look absolutely gorgeous.
No, they're not real leaves.
Okay.
But thank you.
No, you're welcome. Now, you see, the first time you came here, I was all professional, and I mean straight down the plate. Then you came another time, I loosened up a little, and now, of course, we're talking about your earrings and such. But it is sincerely a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much. I love being here.
That is absolutely wonderful. Well, someone else who loves being here, we refer to him as the chief of staff. He actually is a doctor. If you go by being I don't know about PhD, but a legal
it's a doctorate in jurisprudence.
It's a doctorate in jurisprudence. Thank you very much. With the first news story of the day, he's my right-hand man, keeps me in check, hopefully out of trouble at least 90% of the time, Dr. Michael Zyma.
Thank you. The Department of Industrial Relations, DIR, and its Division of Workers' Compensation, DWC, today posted a progress report on the department's Independent Medical Review, IMR, program. Highlights of the report include the monthly average length of time to issue an IMR determination after the receipt of all medical records ranged from 10 days to 14 days as compared to a high of 24 days in 2016. An average of 14,350 IMR decisions were issued each month in 2017. The number of eligible applications increased for the fifth consecutive year. Case decisions continue to be similar when comparing several demographic categories, including the injured worker's date of injury, their representation status, and the geographic region of their residence. Finally, similar to prior years, over 40% of treatment requests sent for IMR are for pharmaceuticals, with 3 of every 10 pharmaceutical requests for opioids.
Now, Mike does the IMRs in our office, and I know there are some law firms out there that just IMR everything, which we do not do. We're selective. We feel if we have a reasonable argument, we'll go ahead and IMR it, but we do look at each one and decide before we take that step, right?
Correct.
Robert, what about your office? Do you IMR everything, nothing, or are you selective?
Selective, of course, like you guys. So it depends on the client, what they need, right? If it's a surgery, something big, you're going to want to probably IMR that one for sure. If it's something small, like 8 sessions of physical therapy were approved rather than 12.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
We'll just let that one go.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
With the next news story of the day, and I'm so glad that she is now here every other week. If you ever have any vocational rehabilitation questions or whatnot, she is the extraordinaire. I've known her for a very long time and respect her very much. Ms. Laura Wilson.
Nearly 20% of marijuana products in California have failed tests for potency and purity since the state started requiring the checks on July 1st. A failure rate, some in the industry say, has more to do with unrealistic standards and technical glitches than protecting consumer safety. The testing has been especially tough on cannabis-infused cookies, candies, and tinctures, and about 1/3 have been blocked from store shelves.
What the heck is a tincture?
It's almost like a tchotchke, except you eat it.
Oh, my goodness.
I checked that.
I know they have brownies and they have cookies, but a tincture?
Actually, I think it's tincture.
Oh, okay.
There's an N in there.
Okay, with the next news story, he's my protege. Yes, that's right. I discovered him, and I am proud, but believe me, he has done everything on his own. With the next news story, attorney Robert Ozeron.
According to the Insurance Journal, Uber Technologies Incorporated may be saving more than $500 million a year by misclassifying its California drivers as independent contractors.
And you wonder how Uber can pay millions of dollars to settle cases, and this is the answer to your question. Now, of course, the state of California, I'm surprised if there are any independent contractors left. Every independent contractor, when they dispute it, is being found to be an employee, regardless of if it's at the Workers' Compensation Appeals Board or if it's at the Labor Board. We talked about PAGA before. You have all of these independent contractors, they signed agreements. They agreed to be independent contractors. They were paid timely. Then they get fired, and weeks, months, or years later, they're filing PAGA claims claiming they're employees and they didn't get their breaks and they didn't have their lunches and stuff like that. Now, don't get me wrong. If you are an employee and you're not getting a lunch, you're not getting a break, you deserve to be rightfully compensated. But if you agreed to be an independent contractor and you got everything that you wanted, I think it's very unfair that you should be allowed to come back later, be found to be an employee, and go after all this money for breaks and lunches. And I want to throw that out. What do you guys and gal at the round table think about that?
Well, I'll go first on this one because I strongly disagree. Okay. Firstly, there are protections in place for employers who have employees who can take lunches out in the field, right? So you don't have to supervise them. And
of course, I'm not talking about them.
Correct. Well, that would eliminate a lot of the unfairness that could be potentially seen from your example. But it won't happen that way. That's according to existing law. Now, I do think that Uber should be held responsible for all the misclassification. I'd like to see the governor do something about it. Obviously, all of these people are employees. They're in the course and scope of their employment. I handle Uber claims in my office. I know the attorneys for Uber and Lyft personally because I've had so many cases. And it's pretty routine that they deny employment, but we will settle that claim.
Well, let's talk about that for a moment. I'm sorry to interrupt. Let's take Uber and Lyft. Now, they agree to be independent contractors. They get paid by 1099.
So what?
What I'm suggesting is, or what I'm asking is, let's say they quit or whatever. You think it's totally legitimate to come back and simply say, I was an employee and I didn't get my breaks, I didn't get my lunches. I'm not talking if they get injured. I'm just talking about a labor claim.
Okay, well, if that's what they claim and they were working, for example, a certain amount of hours straight, and they can prove it, perhaps they can get 1 hour of pay or something like that. But what you're talking about would be subject to proof on every individual case. You claim that you didn't get your lunches or your breaks. Okay, show me that you were logged in on the app and that you didn't have some sort of at-will employment where you can take off right now and take your lunch. Look, you weren't logged in at this period to this period. How could you not?
Apparently it's easy to prove, though, Robert.
Well, that's a different standard, okay? That's up to the civil court and if the legislature sees so fit to fill any gaps, okay?
I mean, but they pick and choose when they're going to work.
Exactly. So that's why the lunch break issue may not be the big one here. What we're talking about is a huge amount of what's basically insurance fraud. It's a large-scale misclassification, driving up premiums on everybody else. Gosh. If you really ask me what I think, if you get down to it, they're just another uninsured employer like every other, person I deal with in my office. Okay, and the only thing that motivates them is the same as the uninsured employer: greed. Okay, money.
Have you ever adjudicated the independent contractor issue, or have you settled them all?
They've paid me all, every single one of them.
They play good money? I mean, fair money?
It depends. Usually no. Usually they'll sit on their denial, but in an Uber case, we'll often have some sort of third-party claim potentially, and in those
situations, then they dismiss the work comp case so they don't have to deal with the liens, right?
Well, no. We'll handle the liens yes, there's a creative settlement, put it that way, where the liens...
Creative settlement. Go ahead.
And the bills will be pushed on the PI case if there is such a case. If there is not such a case, I have to keep that in mind as well, because now all of these bills must be adjudicated by the workers' comp court, or at least if you want us to dismiss it and claim that we're not an employee, whatever, but you're going to have to give us enough money to cover all those bills, okay? Plus money for the PD and the TD, same difference, okay? We're going to get our rights no matter what.
So they do belly up to the bar usually on those cases?
It's become so routine that I actually just email directly with the attorneys for Uber and Lyft the moment that I get a new sign-up for one of their clients. Okay? I got another one here for you. I don't want to say their names here, but I was emailing with him today on a case where my client... this is his second Uber accident, if you can imagine. And, employers usually like you to go away. And then they claim that, you shouldn't be working for us again, blah, blah, blah. You hired him, There's two to tango as far as I'm concerned.
Laura, do you use Lyft or Uber?
I use both.
I use Lyft. Tell me what you like about Uber and what you like about Lyft. Or which one's better, which one's worse, etc.
They're both basically, to tell you the truth, that kind of the same. However, with Lyft, sometimes I feel there's a little more as far as quality, a little more professionalism. I've had issues with both of them. I do like the fact that you're able to go ahead and customize your tip amount if you if you choose to tip. And I do like the fact that you're able to go ahead and comment on the driver.
Yep. I know that's all Lyft because I use Lyft.
Right. I mean, the fact that they can comment on the rider.
Yep.
I think that, I think that's kind of confidential. I mean, I really don't need people to know that I was in a Lyft or an Uber. If I wanted it to know, it'd be on
the
social
drivers
media.
want to know if you're a 5-star because they don't.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. But I just feel, as far as the commenting part, I mean, I believe, you're paying for a service. You're paying for a service to be provided.
Mike, Uber, Lyft?
I took it once. Remember, I'm old school.
Yeah. I absolutely love Lyft. There's no question about it. And I remember the last time I tried to get an actual taxi, like Yellow Cab Company, it took literally like 45 minutes. I have never called on Lyft where it's taken more than 7 minutes to have the rider, and normally it's inside of there at 5. And it's real convenient. And I know one of the contributing factors is that at least they run it like they're independent contractors, because if they had to run it, pay taxes and all that stuff, of course, the price would be a little bit higher, and maybe people are getting ripped off, and maybe eventually we're going to see that change happen. But
well, it sounds like they're getting ripped off at a tune of $500 million a year, right? That's what Uber's making.
Well, it's eventually going towards self-driving cars, anyways. That's where Lyft and Uber both want to go.
It's too
10
bad,
years.
though. I get this gig economy, Grubhub, Amazon Prime, right? Deliveries. You have all these people who
the whole gig economy are independent contractors, allegedly, right?
Allegedly, no, but in reality, no. Okay, they're employees, and honestly, all of this is just fraud to pump up people's stock prices or their bottom line in Uber's case, because they're not publicly traded technically and all that. But either way, it's not going to stop until we start holding people criminally responsible, which is a crime in California to be an uninsured employer.
Uber's a privately held company?
Yeah, they're not IPOing yet. They might have a public offering next year, they say.
Really?
They have a new CEO. I don't know. If I was the attorney general, if I was the governor, I would hold these people responsible, show that, millionaires and billionaire companies, $1 trillion in Apple's case, but they're not doing anything illegal as far as I know so far, yet they're equal in the eyes of the law. All right? I don't understand why some liquor store owner can hire a day laborer, that's illegal, and it is, and not have insurance for him, but Uber can make $500 million a year, and it's fine because they give political donations.
So you'd be okay with the price increases?
Yeah. Well, you mean I'd be okay with all employers following the law equally in California?
So I'm asking.
Yes, I would.
Okay, good.
Oh, God forbid it hurts their bottom line to stop doing criminal activity, right?
I mean, I believe they make a lot of money. They might as well pay the price.
Speaking of that, Laura, what's your take on the gig economy? Are you retraining people to go into the gig economy? How prevalent is it in what you do as far as retraining and vocal rehab?
I mean, if I have a client or an injured worker that's able to do a lot of driving, able to go ahead and work an app, able to do the driving when they're not on narcotics, be able to get the person back and forth to the location.
If the narcotics aren't being denied by utilization.
That's a one-star review. Driver on narcotics.
The other part would be, some of these clients, you got to think about it. I'm not saying in order to be an Uber driver or to be a Lyft driver, you have to have a lot of personality, because I, in fact, have been in an Uber or Lyft with people without personality. But they have to be able to deal with people. Have to be able to be accountable to get this person to a certain location and be responsible for the person that's in the car.
LexisNexis Risk Solutions announced the launch of its LexisNexis Global Insurance Alliance program. Insurers can integrate with more than 125 Alliance program members to access LexisNexis policy and claim solution that leverage the industry's most comprehensive data repository, a proprietary method of linking and clustering data, and the processing speed of the LexisNexis HPCC Systems Big Data Computing Platform. Mike, don't ever let me write like this again. That's like 2 or 3 sentences that I put all in one sentence, and you were supposed to edit my writing, okay?
Well, it is a bit tortured.
Oh, I would say it's hugely tortured, and don't let me do that again, please. These pre-built technology integrations will accelerate time to market for insurance carriers by delivering advanced analytics and new innovations through a scalable platform.
You know what? I think that even if it had been broken up into 15 different sentences,
It still would have sounded like crap, right?
I still would have no idea what it's talking about.
Basically, LexisNexis came out with a new risk solutions program. Check it out, everybody. Call LexisNexis if you want the information. Who's got the next news story?
I think I do. Okay. Dr. Prudence Hall has made a name for herself in the field of, quote, bioidentical hormones, end quote, which are plant-based compounds purportedly customized for each patient's needs. Experts say the popular approach is unproven. California regulators say she was grossly negligent in her care of 2 patients. And folks, her record with the medical board is a bit interesting.
And Mike checks out all the doctors and attorneys that we deal with just because he likes to.
I know, it's a morbid fascination. Sorry.
Laura, what's next?
The California Department of Insurance on Tuesday issued a cease and desist order to the National Rifle Association of America, alleging the NRA marketed an insurance product in California without being licensed to do so. The NRA sponsors the Carry Guard personal firearms liability, including self-defense insurance policy. The product provides coverage for bodily injury or property damages that result from the legal use of a firearm.
This is a very interesting story.
Yeah.
The NRA rather apparently sells a bunch of these policies in other states.
Which, of course, I don't know about other states, but in California, insurance is not legal unless the Division of Insurance, the insurance commissioner, that part of the state allows it and license it.
Correct.
Strange that California would say no to the NRA, though, even though they were already selling the insurance, right, illegally without a license.
Yeah.
But you think they would want to comply and then get the license to keep selling the product, but it doesn't seem like they want to, which is strange what I would see, because California would want to throw more regulations onto firearms. You could eventually slap it on so much that you'd make it requirement.
More regulations on everything.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and especially on guns and the Second Amendment. So a lot of people were proposing that one of the strings that should be tied to all firearms, and I don't propose this, I just know of the issue, is that it has to have insurance. That you have to have insurance for your firearm like a car. Now, obviously, your driving is not a right, defined in the amendments, unlike firearms. So that's why the insurance issue has been a dead end as a requirement, my understanding is. But you'd think at least California, when the NRA willingly starts selling insurance, so they can say, okay, well, everyone must have insurance. But instead, they went the other way, and they just shut it down.
However, back in the 1700s, when they wrote the Constitution, if you stole a horse, you could be hung.
Well, there's a lot of laws that have been
revised,
yeah. But as far as the Constitution, if we're going to go that direction, that document's...
There's no right to drive a car. That's absolutely right.
But the Constitution, that document's aged fairly well, I'd have to say.
Absolutely.
I got to say, it's aged like gold.
And someone else who's no, I'm not going to say that. No, actually, someone else who has aged damn well is Attorney John Scalia, and in fact, he's going to be with us next month. He's going to be out the round table.
He has, in fact, aged very well.
Absolutely, and
judicial notice.
He ran his most recent marathon this year, and
can't wait to see him.
Oh, he's going to be. He's looking forward to meeting you, too. All the way in Munich, Germany, with his take on what's going on the national scene is Mr. John Scalia.
Hi, this is John with the WorkComp International Report from Munich. Well, the big news last week was the publication by the New York Times of an anonymous op-ed piece, allegedly from a senior advisor in the White House. The piece essentially said that Donald Trump was off the rails and that members of his White House staff would sabotage the things they thought were completely crazy. They would do this in a number of ways, but basically they would stop the president from getting done things that he wanted to get done. The person who wrote the piece called it a resistance within the White House. Now, this sparked a whole discussion about anonymous pieces. I should point out that I consider myself a bit of a newspaper person because I was the news editor of my college paper for 2 years. My personal opinion is that I don't like anonymous sources because somebody's afraid to sign their own name to an opinion. I generally think they shouldn't give it. As Steve can verify, I'm an upfront person. If I don't like what's going on, I will tell you. And if I really don't like it, I will quit and have quit. However, we also know that by allowing anonymous publications, information which the public probably should know and deserves to know becomes public. And without anonymous publication, that may not happen. We also know that when people who are anonymous, because they are afraid, do so, it's because the person they are afraid of is a powerful person. And powerful people can retaliate, and powerful people can make your life miserable. If you just look at what's going on with the Harvey Weinstein thing, you will see that the allegations are that he made life miserable for lots of people because of his position of power. And that's true for everybody, and especially a person who is the president of the United States. Okay. In this case, should the person have published anonymously? Well, I don't think so. I think if you're a senior advisor in the White House, and I suspect the New York Times made sure it was a senior advisor in the White House, you can certainly get another job. You can quit and then tell people why you quit and get another job. Everybody's been weighing in on this, including the president's wife, who published a piece in the Washington Post talking about anonymous sources should not write our history, which I found amusing from a Slovenian immigrant who's been an American citizen for all of 1 year, referring to our history. But, and someone also who lied about her own college education and was forced to admit that she only went to 1 year of college. I suspect she and Trump met at a liar's poker convention. But anyway, the second most, and of course, Bob Woodward just published a book, which was not anonymously, alleging many of the same things. But the next big news item was that Barack Obama broke protocol by commenting on the job his successor is doing. The protocol is that a president, ex-president, does not comment on the job his successor is doing. He maintains radio and all kinds of other silence. And so far, Barack has done that. But he came out last week at a speech at the University of Illinois and broke silence. Why? Well, interestingly enough, I published a piece on my Facebook page months ago saying that I thought Donald Trump was clinically insane. If you listen to what Barack Obama said, he said everything other than Donald Trump is insane. He basically referred to it as crazy town, off the rails. I mean, if you listen to the speech, he basically said Donald Trump is insane. I was actually happy to see that a mainline politician finally came to the same conclusion I had come to months ago. I'm sure Barack came to it earlier, but he finally broke silence on it. Also, a lot of people try to pretend that Barack said it was okay to have the piece published anonymously. He did not. He said, in fact, that this person said there was a resistance within the White House stopping 10% of what Trump wanted to get done. And Obama said, that's not what you should do. You should not resist on the 10% and allow the 90% to get done. If you don't agree with the 90%, you should not be there. So in other words, he agrees with me. This person should quit. It shouldn't have been published anonymously. But anyway, that's the brouhaha in Washington, D.C. and in the United States. And certainly makes for an interesting topic. And that's the view from Munich this week.
Thank you very much, John. As always, a valuable contribution. And when I said earlier that he's looking forward to seeing you, one of the reasons that, Laura, that you're at the table is because John was constantly hounding you that Steve Appel wants you on the show and to come on down. And so we got to thank John for that. How long have you known John? When did you first meet him?
Social media. I've met him through social media.
Really? Mm-hmm. And so I guess you've just known him for the past couple of years?
I've just known him for the past couple of years.
Uh-huh.
Yes, and we've been in communication. I can't wait to meet him.
Well,
for the first time, in
absolutely.
person,
I see. I thought that you guys had gone back like 10, 20 years.
Well, I mean, I'm sure probably within the workers' compensation industry, we have crossed paths probably plenty of times since I've been in it for about 16 years now, and have been at lots of events, which I'd like to mention. We have a really exciting event coming up.
Please do. Go ahead.
This Saturday, at the Millennium Biltmore, Judge of the Year, Latino Comp, we're honoring Judge Watkins with a Judge of the Year award, and we're really looking forward to it. And I really hope you're going to be my guest at my table, Steve.
Thank you. I'm going to make it. I will commit right now. You want to tell the listeners how they can get a hold of you if they want to go to that or some other function?
Sure. You're more than welcome to go ahead and give me a call at the office. My number is 562-458-7532, and I'd be more than happy to go ahead and help you out with that as well. You're also more than welcome to go ahead and show up. It starts at 6 o'clock at the Millennium Biltmore. And you're also more than welcome to go ahead and look on social media on Facebook, Latino Comp, and we'd be more than happy to go ahead and get you a ticket.
And there you go. And I'm committing right now that I will be there. My name is Steve Appel. You're listening to WorkComp Matters. We're brought to you by A1 Law. If you want the #1 computer management system used by more workers' compensation attorneys than any other system on the planet, give me a call at 818-357-4120 for your no-strings-attached money-back guarantee, $1 a day, A1 Law. And if you want those hard-to-get, sold-out, yes, even front row, concert, sports, theater tickets, give our buddy Brian a call at Santa Monica Tickets, 310-395-8587. And, of course, our newest sponsor is ABC Rugs. We will be back in a couple of minutes after our first musical break.
How does it feel to be one of the beautiful people? Now that you know who you are, what do you want to be? And have you traveled very far, far as the eye can see? Baby, you're a rich man. Baby, you're a rich man too. You keep all your money in a big brown bag inside a zoo. What a thing to do. How does it feel to be one of the beautiful people? How often have you been there? Often enough to know. What did you see when you were there? Nothing that doesn't show. Baby, you're a rich man. Baby, you're a rich man too. You keep all your money in a big brown bag inside a zoo. What a thing to do.
Lachlan and the Cherry Blue Storms, and Baby, You're a Rich Man. And boy, some of the talk that goes on during the musical break, I've got to tell you. Who wants to take the next news story or talk about something that happened to them this week? I know that Today, I didn't step 1 foot in the office, yet my phone was ringing off the hook. I could not believe it. Firstly, I'm producing another show here. We gave it a shot. I produced a different show last week, so we're seeing how that goes. And then, of course, we just did, which is on my Facebook, the Inside Work Comp Matters, which is our very first, and I don't want to say our last, but I don't like to do videos, as you all know, but it is a 3-minute video. It's called Inside Work Comp Matters, and all of us talk about, what we like about the show, etc. And I'm just completely impressed. It's absolutely wonderful. So if you get a chance, check it out. Mike, Robert, anything going on that you want to blurt out? No, not really. Not really. They're both befuddled. Laura, how was your day today?
My day today was quite busy. It was a very busy day, although I'm kind of casual right now. But I got a lot of paperwork done. Sometimes you just got to take that phone and move it away. Sometimes I just think it's so, you're just always looking at the emails, and you just got to take a break to be able to just concentrate.
When you take your breaks, do you ever walk away, leave your phone, and just zone out, or are you like me and take the phone wherever you go?
You know what? I normally used to take the phone everywhere I go, but I've learned to kind of sometimes let me go ahead and take a break at lunch, and I'll just say I'm taking a break, and I will literally walk away, come back, and then I'll look at the phone. I'm like, oh my goodness,
What happened? What did I leave?
But I think today was a great day. Yesterday was kind of a somber day, being 9/11.
Right. And thank you very much for that. Who's got the next news story?
I'll read one here because it says the California Insurance Commissioner Dave Jones recently called on more insurers to enter the marijuana marketplace to help fill gaps in coverage for those who roles are essential in cultivation and distribution of the drug, which still remains federally illegal. Now, that's an interesting story, trying to find insurance companies to cover marijuana dispensaries and their employees.
Right, exactly. And also because you're dealing with paying premiums that are known to be for marijuana. And I think there's one bank in California, I don't mean one location, but all of the big banks, we know Wells Fargo, we know Chase, they're not going to accept money that admittedly is coming from the sales of marijuana because it's federally illegal, and they are afraid to potentially get fined by the national banking regulations. What do you think?
Yeah, those are national organizations, national banks, and now they're under the federal laws. Often they don't want to run afoul of them. But if you're a state business, if you have a state insurance company, something smaller maybe, looks like there's potential business to be had in the marijuana industry. And I got to say, I would assume most of your workers are pretty relaxed in there. So maybe, I got to say, it sounds like it's good money for an insurance company to write those policies, collect that premium, and not do anything. I don't know why they wouldn't.
Because their insurance companies are by nature conservative.
Yeah, it's true.
And, by the way, speaking of insurance companies, did you guys hear, I think it's even including medicine and including law, what the most reliable 4-year degree out of a university for? It's for actuarial studies. People that go to work for insurance companies and just sit in a room all day and figure out numbers. Supposedly, there is a 2% unemployment rate from the time they get out of college with the actuarial sciences degree.
You still have to pass the actuarial fellowship test, which is more gnarly than the bar. It's my understanding.
And once you do that, you go into the marketplace. Your first job on the average, $102,000 a year.
Their job is to assess risk.
Yes.
It's fascinating stuff. Have you guys ever known an actuary? They are even weirder than computer people. I swear to God.
Yeah, because they sit with 4 doors, no windows, and they punch keys on a keyboard.
They're nice folks, but they're like, computer type people.
Computer dweebs.
Yes. But they're assessing risk.
That's right. And of course, the definition of insurance is transfer of risk. Now that we knocked that one out of the park, right? I'm hearing way too many crickets today.
We can talk about the most important license, right? The actuarial exam versus the bar. I always thought I was talking about this with my staff recently because the bar exam, if you become an attorney, there's a lot of benefits. I was looking into obtaining a real estate broker's license. And apparently, and I did check this out on the Department of Industrial Relations website, if you have a law license, your all your prereqs are already done. All you have to do is do the application and show that you have experience in the industry, and you can just take the exam. You pass it, and I took a look at the exam because I'm curious too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically just property law from law school.
Right, but
just one class.
But would you really want to be a real estate broker? I mean, I can understand if you wanted to represent individuals in purchases and purchasing property, but do you really want to be a real estate broker?
Well, a real estate broker is even easier. For a salesperson, you'd have to walk around, be on your feet, try to get the sale. I mean, I'm a consumer in the marketplace, and I'm not the easiest sale, and I would hate to have to deal with me, and I got to say, probably easier than most.
So what would be your real estate activity as a broker?
As a broker, I believe you're just kind of just searching the title, making sure it's clean. A broker is the independent person in the middle. Right? They're the exchanger. Someone gives them cash, they hold it. The other person gives them title, they hold it. And they make sure everything clears and they exchange hands.
That's an escrow person.
That's what a real estate broker is. He does escrow.
I didn't know that. I thought they
know
were
that either.
I thought they were
I didn't
completely
either.
different.
Well, there's salesperson and then there's a broker, right?
My understanding is a real estate salesperson is a sales representative of the real estate entity. The broker is the person who owns the real estate company.
That was my understanding too.
And the escrow is, of course, when you have two people, the buyer and the seller, that put together that do the deal, and they have to have money deposited and money out. That goes to an escrow.
Correct.
Company.
And the escrow. A broker is the person who kind of oversees the escrow, I would say, because when the person wants to purchase a home and they have to put their money down, who do they give it to? Not the salesperson, right? They would put it down with the broker.
It goes,
the trusted
it goes
individual.
It goes to the seller.
Well, yeah. Well, before there's a quasi-state, right? It doesn't go from one to the other. You don't transfer title so quick. It goes through escrow. Escrow is a period, a quasi-gray period, where you close the deal. Correct.
Correct.
And during this quasi-period of sale, you have a broker in the middle. Perhaps each side is running some sort of search on the property. Well, definitely the buying side.
Generally, both the buyer and the seller have their own real estate agents. The person in the middle you're talking about is the escrow.
Escrow is not a person. It is a stage within a sale. Okay, it's the quasi stage in between a sale.
I would say it's like a place to park your money for about 3 months.
Yeah, okay, that's the practicality of it. Depends on how you close the escrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
But escrow is a stage. In litigation, we have discovery stage, right? You start the process. Now you have this middle stage, the gray area, then you have the trial. It's the same thing in real estate. You have the initial offering, perhaps the sale on the other side, right? You got a deal. And then you have the person in the middle brokering it. The broker.
And believe me, when you're going, I just recently purchased a home about 6 months
and you know,
ago.
Laura,
So please.
go for it. Yeah.
And let me tell you, compared to 15 years ago when I bought, about 17 years ago when I bought a home, boy, have things changed. They ask
You need more forms and such.
so many more
but you
forms.
you can sign them all on your computer now. You don't have to go down and wet signature
yes,
them.
but not only that. I mean, talk about the questions they ask you. I mean, you have to find paperwork that goes back 17 years. It's crazy.
Wow.
It's really, I mean, it's really, really crazy how hard it is now to buy a
Paperwork
house.
involving prior real estate transactions?
I mean, I myself had a divorce 20 years ago. I literally had to pull out my divorce papers from 20 years ago in order to purchase a house. I mean, I had to pull out paperwork from the business, from all sorts of stuff.
Well, everybody here, I think, has had some sort of experience shopping for a home, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, Bob, tell me about your experience.
Sure, absolutely. The first home that I purchased, in fact, I was talking to my kids about this earlier, was in Reseda. It was about 1,500 square feet, 4-bedroom, 2-bath. I bought it in 1988 for $170,000. And at that time, that was all the money in the world. That's just when I first got married. And that was in 88. Then in about 1991, my wife at the time and I purchased a 3,300 square foot home on a quarter acre of land on a dead-end street, a cul-de-sac. It was 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, pool, jacuzzi, the house of my dreams for $335,000, okay? The $170,000 home is now probably worth about $600,000. The $335,000 home is now probably worth about $1.3 million. And the $170,000 home I got screwed out of. The $335,000 home I got screwed out of, and I've been presently living in my current home. I'm not going to say it's in Woodland Hills. It's a 3 bedroom, 2 bath with a pool. I'm not going to say what I paid for it, but it's appreciated in the past 14 years about 60% or something like that. And I just recently, Laura, you were saying how you recently purchased a home. I just recently refied the home to like 4 1/8, 30-year fixed. By the way, I have never purchased a home with anything but a 30-year fix. Stay away from adjustables, stay away from ARMs, stay away from interest only. I would only buy a 30-year fix. And for those of you that are thinking about that or have your 30-year fix, you also know that you always have the option to pay like an extra $100 or $200 a month, which will pay down principal within 5 to 10 years in advance of that 30-year period. Time and time, so you got me on a roll. Time and time again, it is proven that the safest investment, and it's also a place to live, is your home. Because if you're not in it for the quick buck, if you're not in it for a quick flip, I know nobody, and I mean nobody, that has owned a home for at least 10 years and would then say, I shouldn't have bought it. Anybody that has held a piece of property for at least 10 years is always happy that they purchased the property. Now, check with someone who bought it a year ago, 2 years ago, is in it for the quick buck. They're a lot of the ones that are, as they say, underwater. So there's my 5-minute spiel on homes. Thank you, Robert.
Well, you're welcome. Do you think a person should spend all the money they have, like you did in the beginning there at the 170, or do you think that the person should be more reasonable? What advice would you have given yourself back then?
That is an excellent question, and this is what I say. You spend as much money as you can afford to, and even a little more, to purchase your home, but you have to plan to keep it for 10 years, and that is the key. If you don't plan to keep it for 10 years, then you're probably making a mistake to purchasing your house. Because and someone told me this a long time ago, a very long time ago, somebody who owned like 17 different pieces of property. Real estate is magic. It just changes the quality of your life. It makes you independent. And I'm not talking about going to these schools that you see online or go to a seminar that are going to teach you how to buy and sell property with someone else's money. As far as I'm concerned, that's a bunch of hooey. You take as much money as you can afford when you want to buy a piece of real estate, and you buy it presumably to live in, so you're not paying money to the landlord, and you plan to keep it for 10 years. Because in 10 years, rental prices will go up, but that 30-year mortgage stays exactly the same.
Well, that has more to do with the mortgage rate, though, right? The adjustable mortgage versus the fixed mortgage. Right now, isn't the adjustable under the fixed amount? Isn't it around 375?
Yes, the adjustable is always under the fixed rate, but look at what it's at, okay? Right now, it's about a quarter of a point, like you just said, because I don't know if you can get a 30-year fix now for 4.5, maybe 4.25.
Yeah, you're right around the money there.
Okay, so 3.75. So even if you're saving half a point, that adjustable could skyrocket up to 5 or 6, which is why a lot of people 8 years ago or whatnot went underwater because all of their adjustable rates with the mortgage interest and all of that crap, it all went up, and people lost their homes. If you stay at a 30-year fixed, you are fixed for 30 years. And you can always refi if you want. Now, that's a whole other issue, and I'm not going to talk about it now, but I just did recently refi, but that's because the rate was down low. And I will tell you, my mortgage rate right now is, without question, less than the cost to rent a 2-bedroom apartment. And I own the home.
That's a great deal. And then you're paying off your mortgage every month, much less than anything else.
But I've had it for 14 years.
What do you think about the real estate market now that you're going off on this, going on the next 6 years? Because it looks like Trump's probably going to get another presidency. The economy's up, which means that the numbers are probably going to keep going in the same direction if everything stays pretty steady. What are you thinking about the home market?
Anybody can buy at the top end, and then it can go down, and they might be a little messed up, but that's in the short haul. If you plan to hold for 10 years, you will be fine. And by the way, you hold for 10 years, maybe you refi, you take some money out, you put a down payment on another house, you rent something out.
Start playing the game.
Right. Now,
the property game.
And of course, well, it's the landlord-tenant game, and I know you know some of that. So if you want to play that game, that's fine. But you can never go wrong holding property for more than 10 years. Mike's been living in his home for 20 years, 30 years.
28 years. But our first home we bought in 1983, I believe, for $102,000. For those of you that know the Bay Area, it was Daly City. It's one of those homes out the south, looked into Pacifica Bay. We bought it for $102,000.
How many square feet? 1,500?
About 1,500.
Go ahead.
3-bedroom, 2-bath. And then another area. It was a rectangle, okay? So 1,500 square feet upstairs, an equal amount downstairs, but it was garagey type of thing. Okay, so we bought it for $102,000 in 1983. Unfortunately, I couldn't hold on to it. It slipped through my fingers in 1990. We moved back down to Southern California in 1986, so it was a rental for about 4.5 years. Had some unfortunate things happen. Had some lousy renters, but the last time I checked, it was about $1.1 to $1.2 million.
Ouch.
Wow.
Well, at least you can say that you had good taste back then, right?
And we also have a piece of property in Lancaster that's a very large house, and I enjoy going out there and working on it because I found this handyman kind of guy, and we go out there and work on it, and I pay him and such. But it's fun to do, and we've done some good work out there.
Now, also, since we're on the topic, people ask, should I buy as big a house as I can, even if the land is small? And the answer is that when real estate appreciates, the land appreciates far more than the actual structure that's on the land. So, yeah, I mean, some people want to get as big a house as possible, but, when they're building tract homes and stuff where they're putting like 3,000 square foot of house on like 4,000 square foot of land, I would never, ever do that.
So you're always looking at the lot size.
Absolutely. You have to look at the price per square foot for both the lot size as well as the house. And remember that when property values go up, it's really the land that's going up, not the structure. It's the land that's going up.
Have you ever done a fixer-upper yourself? Have you ever had such an experience?
I've never bought a house that was not in move-in condition because I am not into flipping real estate. I have always I've purchased 3 homes in my life. And I've always bought them to move in and live there. So I never bought a fixer-upper, no.
I always thought it'd be interesting to kind of become more of a craftsman, right, and do it yourself if you lived in the place yourself.
My father-in-law used to do that all the time.
The house I just bought is a flip.
Oh, wow.
You mean a fixer-upper or a flip?
It was a flip.
Oh, so you're flipping it?
No.
Someone
else flipped someone else flipped it, and then I moved in.
Someone else bought it.
So she's on the consumer side.
I'm the consumer of the flip.
Someone else bought it in crappy condition. They fixed it up, and then they sold it to you.
Exactly.
Awesome.
She got a good deal. It's a win-win, But I think if you're going to do something like that, maybe start small with like a condo, right? Not a full house.
Now we're talking about condos versus homes.
Oh,
okay?
see, I really hit the nerve. I love it. Let's go.
No, that's okay. And I've never. Firstly, condo is the word. Well, actually, what's the Mike? The where you own a percentage of everything.
Is it the HOA fees that you're going to
no.
get on?
Yeah, co-op.
Co-op.
Okay. Co-op is the worst because you don't own your space. You own a percentage of the area. Then you have condo, which a lot of the times are just renovated apartments. Okay. Then you have townhomes, which are actually really, really nice. Then, of course, you talk about HOA, homeowner association. You have homes that are in the homeowner association where you have to pay for the common area. And then, of course, you have, like myself, you have the home and I own the entire lot. Generally speaking, condos and even townhomes are the last type of property to go up in value. In other words, when the market starts to spike, it's always a home like I have that's not HOA. I own all the property and all the home. That's going to go up first. Then come the homeowners associations, then the townhomes, then the condos. But the problem is when the prices start to drop, it's in reverse order. The condos will drop first, then the townhomes, then the HOAs, and then the homes. So it depends what you want to do.
You know, an HOA, you seem to be describing something in an HOA that I'm unfamiliar with. We have an HOA, and there is a common area, which is killer, by the way, with a nice big pool that, hosts swimming meets and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But we all own our own individual houses and plots of land. And actually, because it's so old, the housing, well, since 1967, the fees are just minimal, like $200, $300 every 6 months, something like that.
That's a good deal for HOA.
That's a really good
nothing.
deal.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, however, you have shared common areas. You mentioned the pool. I'm assuming
it's great.
you
And
also,
he has to pay HOA. It runs with the land.
Right.
It's a covenant running with the land.
and I'm assuming there's a recreation room there somewhere, right?
Oh, it's a mega recreation.
Okay, okay.
We've had banquets there.
Right, exactly.
Pretty good
And
deal
so
then.
Those are
Yes.
those are the common areas, right?
Yeah.
And if the homeowners association decides that they want to enact rules, for example,
Oh, there's rules.
yeah, like you can't paint your house any color you want,
So
right?
they call it a palette, and it's prescribed.
If you wanted
CCNRs.
to paint your house pink, that would be against the HOA, right?
Correct.
There you go.
But some people do anyway because they freak out. And I want to tell them, well, I'd really like to meet the guy that paled the gun to your head that said you have to sign those CCNRs, okay? But every once in a while there's a guy like that gets pissed off and he paints his house like a zebra.
Well, I was going to say, do you have those neighbors, the ones who are the CCNR Nazis? You know what I'm talking about?
We have good HOA people. We really
The
do.
HOA police. You
Well,
don't
like
have
the
any of
president.
those?
The president is somebody that I've known for 25 years, and he's a great guy, and he's like 90% retired. Sometimes the architecture people can be a pain in the ass because you really have to have plans and stuff, and they have to bless them.
I don't know if I should apologize for just going off on a tangent with real estate or if I should thank Robert because the show, like in the middle there, Mike, it was kind of getting a little crickety and then all of a sudden, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, there were some crickets to be heard. Sorry about that.
No. That's my fault. No problem. And we are just out of time. Robert, thank you for grilling me on real estate.
Well, you know what? Maybe we should get a real estate attorney down here. I know
I'd
a
love
couple.
That would be great.
And we can really pick his brain. First of all, we can figure out what a mortgage broker does, right? We can really get the job details down there.
You meant escrow, not mortgage.
Well, no,
broker.
escrow's an eight. See, okay. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Okay,
we can
okay,
figure it out
okay.
at the time. I think I know what escrow is versus a broker, but I don't want to start to.
No, but now we're talking mortgage broker. Okay, fine.
Okay, well, either way, it's all part of real estate, is what I'm
Right,
saying.
yeah.
And we'll get a lawyer down here. He'll give us
Real
a little
estate lawyer,
education.
yeah.
We've done family law. I think we've had
BK.
We've done
Bankruptcy.
BK. We've had political commentary and candidates, and
Let's
now
talk about some real estate.
we'll do a little real estate. It's California
That sounds
after all.
great.
I need
All
me
right.
a little real estate.
Sounds great.
All right. For the chief of staff and my right-hand man keeping me in check and out of trouble at least 90% of the time, Dr. Michael Zyma, vocational rehabilitation expert and extraordinaire, Ms. Laura Wilson, my protege. Yes, I discovered him, but he's on his own. Attorney Robert Ozeron. From Uncle Studio, engineering the show, technical difficulties, taking care of them, Mr. Scott Walton. Back in Munich, Germany, Attorney John Scalia. And a special thank you to all the good people at WorkComp Central who continue to support and approve of this very valuable project, including but not limited to Leaf File and Jake Paris. My name is Steve Appel. We'll see you again next week for another edition of WorkComp Matters.